Hello there, I'm Nalina. Thank you for joining me. Today I am sharing my speed build for the NotSoBerry Challenge Mint. So the rules for the Generation 1 states you are a mischievous scientist that really loves the color mint. You're career driven but still make time for silly pranks and outings with your closest friends. You love luxury and want the best for yourself and your family. Traits for for this first generation are vegetarian, jealousy, materialistic, and their aspiration must be the chief of mischief, and they must enter into the science career. The rules: they must master the science career, master mischief and logic skill, and complete the elements collection. So every generation for the Not So Berry Challenge um, will have to be based off of a different color that has already been decided by the creators of this challenge. I'll put a link in the description. I'm sure everyone has seen the rules for the challenge, but I'll put a link anyway so that you can review them. So, since this first character is meant to be materialistic, I decided to give her a small home. We're not supposed to use cheats. We're only allowed actually the cheat of free real estate. So, in my opinion, that gives you the rights to have any home. I kind of blanked out on that one. I thought we were allowed to use cheats, so I guess I cheated a little bit more than I was meant to for this first character. And but I wanted to give her a home that was both small but still very luxurious. So that's what I'm just working on here. I used a lot of stuff from Glamour Stuff Pack as well as a lot of the custom content that I've downloaded. And I will also put the link in the description below for all the custom content that I personally used. Everything I've downloaded as far as furniture, I got from one site. I just went through the entire, because it's a Tumblr page, so I went through each page of that blog and I downloaded whatever I really enjoyed or liked. So right now I'm just figuring out the outside of the build. You can see Miss Mindy is right there in front of the lawn, her little diamond spinning. I didn't want this house to look too traditional, so instead of using a normal traditional pointed roof or roof with like shingles, I decided to use the different wall heights to create this border along the top of the building of the house. So I was very inspired by kind of Art Deco-y design. So that's what I did with the front. I wish I could have done more, but since the build was meant to be very small, I had to control it. I didn't want it to look too wacky, which I can do sometimes. I can get a little bit out of control. So I've put some mint color on the outside of the build, as well as I will use it on the inside, mostly on the furnishings, and on some of the walls. I believe the walls and most of the furnishings have the color mint. And so I'm just figuring out whether or not I want to make more of the house mint colored. I kind of just like having these highlights here and there of that color. I didn't want it to be everywhere or on everything just because that's not what I wanted to do. So I was gonna leave it white, but because I didn't have those pillars and the border across the roof, I was gonna leave it white, but I changed my mind because the lower half of the building and the walls are that darkish color. Even though when you look at the wallpaper icon, it's pretty light. It's much lighter than it shows up to be when you actually use it. So I darkened everything up, which thankfully I knew that the brown color was there from a previous build that I had done, so I was able to go back and use them. Um, there I go, lightening it up to see how I would have liked it, but I prefer the darker color. It I can't quite describe what it's doing for my intention for the build, but I think it helped me bring it to a place where it doesn't look super modern. I didn't want it to look super modern, despite that it's very boxy and don't have. Oh, what am I trying to say? I don't know. So now I'm just, because I wanted her to have a small, luxurious home, I was really struggling with what do I put on the front lawn. At some point, I pushed the house back so we don't have a backyard. We're just gonna have all this lawn space because she's a career woman and I need to give her time to be outside of her house as often as possible. So whenever she's not at work, she's not really at home, but her home is designed to be pleasing for her. So just trying to figure out how can I bring more of the mint color outside. So I use these flowers from garden stuff because um, I wanted them to stay white. I didn't want to bring any other colors to the lawn, and then I realized these flowers actually have like this beige. Okay, so I keep that little gold. The interior, I believe, is mostly gold and mint because the vintage glamour stuff comes with the the matching color that it has is gold and mint. So I'm just really struggling to figure out the front. I didn't know what kind of trees to put, if I should put trees at all. I try to I use that tree that was in front of the house as a reference, but I don't really put too much in the front there aside from what you've seen, and I'm just gonna rearrange it a little bit. Mostly because on the corner there, that little fountain, it kind of awkward because there's not that much space on that side, so I couldn't double it up. So I just rearrange everything and I see how it looks. As you can see, I'm moving the camera around to see what it's gonna look like, and I got rid of, I think, okay, yeah, got rid of one of those small bushes. And interestingly enough, I didn't realize while I was placing them down because I was so happy that I found a mint flower or floral that I didn't realize like the vines are purple. They're deep purple, and I realized it when I was playing with her for the first time after the build. Um, and that green door from movie stuff, I think it comes in like a mint color, which because I've used that door many many times because it comes in like pure white and it doesn't have an accent color. Unlike a lot of the past doors or the base game doors, they have white versions, but then if you want them in like blue or just something else, they come with like a little accent color. That one is like purely white, or and it has a great actually mint color. But I use that a lot, and it didn't really fit the aesthetic or style that I wanted to use for this build, so I couldn't use it, and I was so devastated because I love that door. It's one of my favorite doors. So there I'm just putting around. As you can see in the room, I use that metallic-y wallpaper from Glamour Stuff, but I did not put it in a mint color because I knew that I wanted her furniture in the bedroom to be mint. And just so that it wasn't overwhelmingly minty in her house, I decided to go with the white instead. And here I'm just figuring out when I put down the layout, when I put the house together, I kind of knew which rooms I wanted to go where. I usually tend to build that way. I think about how I want everything to work, where I want the entrances to lead to, how whether I want a hallway or where I want the kitchen. Usually the kitchen's like the first thing, especially if I do like an apartment or something, but I tend to always do a walkway. And the walkway in this build is actually leads you to directly into the living room, which will then lead you into the kitchen slash dining room slash there's another little area that you'll see, like a little hangout spot that I put in that little corner over there, just because I don't think of her as someone who will entertain. I'm very excited to extend her home or get her something bigger. Um, I don't really foresee her wanting too many children though, which is insane because I myself, when I played The Sims, I build my families as quickly as possible, and then I just start raising up the little babies, and that's just what I love to do. I mean, I would never live my real life that way, but in The Sims, that is the kind of lifestyle that I live. So here, I'm just trying to figure out if I really want the wood floor, which I tend to go towards. But then I thought, oh no, we have this marble floor, which I did not like how it looked against the mints in the kitchen, or I didn't like the way it flowed. I felt like the house was maybe too small, despite the fact that I'm trying to make it a luxurious house. I've done a smaller home in the past where it was like a miniature mansion, and it's so cute. It was inspired, and I did take a image or inspiration from a photo that I saw on Google, and it's actually as closely as possible as I could design that home. And I was following it just because I figured if I just start copying the image, then I can eventually alter it, in ways that I would prefer. But the house ends up getting altered anyway because of the way The Sims is. Maybe in The Sims 3 it would have been more accurately done just because we had the option to do the foundations separate from walls. But that was not the case this time. So here's the bathroom, and I'm just trying to put as much in the bathroom as I can without overstuffing it. I know I did not want a tub in this one, in this build. Usually I like to have both tub and shower or the tub shower combo. I did try to put that in initially, but it was just it was a little awkward, and so I decided just to opt out for the shower instead. And there again, you see that it's not really mint. It's not true mint. It's actually more of an aqua color. So I use it on as the rug, and I'm laughing because the water in the toilet bowl matches the rug. I found that to be kind of funny. But we do have, I believe, it's either a it's either mint or it's a lime colored towel. I think it is a mint though because we have those three colors that RBG, or in this case it's pink instead of red. But we do have the red in some instances. This is not one of them. But I did use the minty color towel rack that we have. Okay, so here we're jumping into the dining room now. And the dining room, I keep it to that little corner that you see. In my mind, I see like this little square or this perfect rectangle in that little area from the kitchen through that entire room. So I don't know, it's just the way that I'm seeing a shape there. So I put the dining room in there. I don't imagine that Mindy, as I call her, is going to be throwing parties. So, I didn't want to give her a huge dining room. I also felt like the space would have been weird, or I didn't know what to put in this corner. So instead of moving the dining room back and doing something different in this corner, I decided to put the dining room near the kitchen, and then I would put something else, which I hadn't figured out yet, in the other corner right across. Um, that could have even been an entirely different space or something. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I laid it out, and I I figured it out the best way I could. I liked that I was able to do something different in that corner, and I didn't have to use it as the dining room. But mm, I don't know. I used it as best as I thought I could. Anyway, so I put the dining room over there. She's not gonna have parties or whatever. I want her to be outside all the time. And for her home to be beautiful when she gets there. She may not spend so much time at home because she's out causing trouble, but she will definitely be happy when she is at home. So everything is neat. And I put that little wine glass over there because I wanted to pretend like she would have a cup of wine here, a cup of wine there. But in the end, I totally forgot about the glass of wine. So it does not get placed strategically at all in the end. And so, while I was doing the kitchen, I didn't feel like she would be. Um, I didn't consider that maybe she would be in the kitchen often, just because she would be a scientist. So maybe she would like to come home and do kind of experimental foods. I thought about that when I was reaching towards the end, and I thought, shucks, I really should have made the kitchen bigger. I could have moved some windows around and done something totally way more fun than I had put here. Anyway, and so I was right here. I'm trying to decide whether or not I was going to use that space as the living area, and then maybe she would have parties that she could host right there near that little entrance. That was my initial thought, but the only couch that they had, which I don't end up even using in the living room anyway, I end up putting that one in the room in the bedroom, I end up picking an entirely different couch. And then I started seeing all these mint colored tables. And then I found this table, which is my CC table, and I was so excited that I had a round table that I wanted to use it, but in the end, I ended up not using it. And that's just me just pulling out as many mint color items as I can find because even though I play this game all day, um, I don't really look at the items that much. I tend to use the same ones. I'm trying to get out of the habit. And some more CC pillows. That one I thought was something she could use, and it took me forever going through these pillows because I wanted, or I figured, because of her being the type of person that she is, there's things that she would have and things that she wouldn't have. And so some of these pillows, like maybe this cat one, I don't think she would have that cat one, or something that says something. I was gonna use it, but at this point I thought, she's not this kind of person. This is not the kind of person that she is. She wouldn't uh, design or use, what are they called? Those pillows, decorative pillows with sayings on them. So I go back and I double up on the heart ones because the heart one is a little bit more simplistic, and I think it's something she could afford to have around the house. She's not she's not someone who is into more modern type things or ugh. What? I never know what I'm trying to say. I know what I want to say. I just can never articulate it quite well. So she may be more traditional, kind of, and that's just the kind of style she would go for instead of having fun things. She just wants like nice things. I guess I like to have fun things with like sayings on them or quotes on them, something that could describe either myself or my mood. I mean, I've got a Darth Vader decorative pillow for my bed that doesn't even match anything else on my bed. But I have it there. Um, so here I am. I'm trying to figure out more pillows just because that is a bench. It's not actually a couch. But I thought she might do some light reading and she could sit there. And then here I am changing the pillow, actually seeing what are my other options and something I could repeat. So then I found this one, which has again that gold touch to it. So since most of the items, as I mentioned earlier, have gold and mint, I thought that would suit the little area quite well. And that little couch. Also, it doesn't interfere adding like an extra complex pattern because it's just linear. So that seat has like floral on it, and it didn't make it too noisy. And I thought the heart being the kind of design that it was just a golden heart was kind of simple as well. It didn't overcomplicate that section. So I wanted something really nice to put on this wall. That blue, the image that I ended up picking, that one. I'm not sure if that's from like The Tudors, which I've just watched and just finished watching. And I saw that and that reminded me of his wife. Which number was this one? Wife number 5, I believe. Her name was also Catherine. He had many wives named Catherine, and 2 wives named Anne, and only 1 wife named Jane. So I laughed every time he was like, Catherine, Catherine. I'm just like, everyone has the same name. That's okay. I guess that's the case now, anyway. So, anyway, I fell in love with it. It reminded me so much of the show. So I thought the painting was beautiful as well. So I thought, you know what, this is nice. It doesn't have that traditional frame on it, but I thought the painting was nice enough that it could suit her style. So I used it. It was very pretty. And then I think I sort of pull away from what I was intending to do design wise in her house just by adding that little wall, that shelf with the things across it. I think I pulled away a little bit, and I knew it in the back of my mind as I put it there, but I liked it so much that I didn't even bother to change it. I thought it fit um, spatial wise. It fit, and I have all these little trinkets that I wanted to use. I didn't want to just put like a huge picture there. I didn't want to put mirrors, so I decided to do that instead. And that huge shelf is actually a CC item. I didn't want to blow up any of our traditional shelves because I wasn't sure how it might interfere with the space. Sometimes you enlarge things and your Sims freak out and they're like, I can't pass, and they're waving their arms at you, and you're just like, what's the problem? Like, I don't see anything, but then it just turns out to be something small and silly. So there I'm just figuring out the lighting, what kind of lights I wanted to use. I so wanted to use that crystallized wall light. I want to make a house or some kind of castle with crystals everywhere. It's not going to be a cave. I thought about it being a cave, but then I thought, no, this is going to be an alchemist house. So I want to use that light and I want to use it everywhere. But that's going to take me forever. So I haven't even begun doing that. This little small space took me forever. In the end, when I went back to revise everything for my screenshots, I actually changed that couch. I believe I used a more traditional looking couch because again it was pulling away from the style I had initially 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 intended. So I got rid of that couch and I used a more traditional base game couch and fully white, I believe, um, because we have this chair to the side which is minty and but it has this great complex floral design pattern all over it. And then the couch is a different style, and then it has its own little thing going on. So I tried to pick the couch that was shape wise anyway, most closest to the chair. I know we have that chair in like base game, but I didn't even bother to look for it. That might have helped me figure it out, but I was struggling so much anyway because I just didn't know what to do with this space. It was so small, I thought, but I didn't. At the same time, I didn't feel like it needed to be any bigger. I mean, you just go and you sit, right? So what was the? I didn't need it to be any bigger than that. So here we are in the bedroom. Um, I know I didn't want the bed facing this way, so or I didn't want it to be in the middle of the wall. And then I have all these custom content beds with separate bed frames and separate uh, mattresses and quilts and all these items. And oh boy, I could not find anything with mint, which I mean, it's my issue because I didn't when I downloaded it, I didn't intend to. I wasn't purposefully looking for anything with that color. And then I wanted to use this, but I didn't want the floral on it. And I didn't like the black one because I didn't want a pattern. I didn't really want a pattern on the bed because of the wallpaper. And I do end up using that pillow collection because it has this minty colored pillow, and I fell in love with it. So then I decide I'm going to use the custom content bed, and I go back and I picked this one just because I liked the bed frame. It comes with the frame, but I really liked the frame. And then I realized I had that frame, but I didn't want to use it because um, I really like the background, how it's kind of plush. And then I end up using this. This is not mint, but I settled for it. And it was at this point when I decided she's materialistic and she's uppity. However, she is a slob. So the bedroom, the rest of the house may look very much intact and well kept, but the bedroom is her free zone. This is where she will leave her clothes thrown around everywhere. She is a genius person. She doesn't have time to wash her clothes right now. She'll just throw them away. She has money, or hopefully she has money. She has money now because I was forced to use Motherload. I did want this house to be affordable and base game only. Well, not base game only, but I did want it to be starter friendly. But that didn't work out because of all the things I had to do to make sure that this house lived up to a potential or the standard that I was putting in place for my sim. So we should be reaching the end now. I just put a few things in the corner there, and you will see later all the small changes that I made in the screenshots. I really hope you enjoy the builds. I love those rugs and I love using them in that very same pattern that I just did. Um, anyway, I'm just dabbling here looking for more things to put around and doing so while deciding, would she like this? Does she want that? Here goes again the little wine cups. Maybe she entertains in her room. She's probably that kind of a person, you know? And I'm not saying there's anything bad with entertaining anybody. I'm just saying, her living room's more open. The windows are right there. This is more intimate. She doesn't have the TV in front of her. So this will be kind of a different environment. Not necessarily a bad thing at all. But I just put them there. I thought that was kind of cute. Or that it would be really, really cute for me to do that. Or I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, I'm so sorry. There goes the messy clutter where I decided she lets her bed cover spill over the side and she just leaves her clothes everywhere. So here are the screenshots. I thank you so much for joining me and I really hope you enjoyed the build. I will speak to you again next time. Bye bye.